We've got Roy Hill himself from Brownells. Yeah, he's the head honcho over there at the Bureau of Propaganda, supporting all their media channels. But you know what? He's here for Brownells talking hunting. Hey, welcome to another Gun Talk Hunt. Today we are joined by one of the members of the Bureau of Propaganda from Brownells, Mr. Roy Hill. Roy, welcome in.
Howdy, howdy. Yes. In fact, right now I'm currently the Chief Intelligence Officer for the Bureau of Propaganda. We got our flag flying there in the background.
Well, you guys are pumping out a lot of great stuff. But before we jump into that, I'm gonna let you know who this Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by. Today, we're brought to you by Benelli, Dominate the Moments, Tetra Hearing, Remington Ammunition, Brownells, of course, Woo! Serious about firearms since 1939, and probably even before that. And Smith & Wesson. All right, we're going to jump into it. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Roy, give us a little bit of your background, because I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that know Brownells. If they don't, if they're not cruising that website every day, I'm disappointed in you. You better jump on there and find out about it. But Roy, give us a little bit of background.
Yeah, come check us out. And folks will run across me probably on the YouTube channel. I'm on the YouTube channel a bit, not as much as some other folks at Brownells. And also I'm heavily involved in our social media campaigns. In fact, they're starting to refer to me as like the infamous possum fatback on Instagram. Yeah, I've been with the company about 10 years, and I have kind of a weird backstory. I was kind of sort of a college English instructor for about 10 years before I joined Brownells. But I was the English faculty member who did stuff like teach concealed carry on the weekend or coach a college club air rifle teams. So,
oh my gosh,
I've been a gun guy since I was probably 8 years old. It was a Red Ryder, but it was not the model with the compass in the stock, and I did not shoot my eye out. But I did get a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas when I was 8 years old. And the very first shot I fired, I'm not kidding. You know, they had the cardboard package with the little target on the back that you cut out, propped up. Very first shot I ever fired with my BB gun was a bullseye.
No kidding.
And I went on Christmas morning in 1978, and I was hooked.
That's old. Just saying.
Hey,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're not that old. You still look young. You're still
for a tree, right? For an oak tree, I'm a spring chicken. Yes.
Yes, exactly. But it's that. One of the great things about Brownells that I find, and I'm on there literally daily, because I think as hunters, like, I'm always looking for a deal, because the hunts aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
I mean,
at least
they're just
not. Yeah.
Right. At least good hunts are. And even when you're, traveling or hunting around on your local back 40, you want to save in certain areas. And and I think the gear that you guys are offering and the deals that Brownells always offer, how can you not go there every day? Like, it just surprises me.
If you're a hunter or you're into guns at all, I would think Brownells would probably need to be a stop for you, www.brownells.com, if you're wondering. But,
hashtag shameless plug.
Yeah, thank you. Hashtag shameless plug. And we've got literally over 100,000 products relating to firearms. Of course, firearms very typically heavily involved for hunting. A lot of folks think of us as just the place for black rifle or AR-15 stuff, and we do have some really great AR-15 stuff. Of course, I've personally hunted all sorts of critters with AR-15s of various types. You can do that, but you can find hunting ammo, you can find great optics, you can find spotting scopes and binoculars, especially if you're glassing for elk or pronghorn out west. We've got bolt action rifles. We've got all sorts of stuff that hunters would need. We may not be the place for camo clothes or control products, but anything gun related that you would need for hunting, we've probably got it.
Well, and right now, what a lot of guys are out doing, or at least they should be doing, is they're doing their preseason scouting.
Right.
They're getting, their blinds set up. They're hanging those tree stands. But one thing that you guys do offer in copious amounts is like emergency med kits and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think a lot of guys go out in the field and they're a little bit undermanned in that department. If I was picking one thing that I'm definitely not going to leave out, it's with some type of med kit or some type of medical.
Right. And You go to brownells.com and look on our little bar with the product categories, look for ESG or emergency survival gear. And we have things like first aid kits, tourniquets, water purification. I mean, if you're going to be like hiking into the backcountry for 2 or 3 days, we've got various things you can use to make sure your drinking water is safe. I mean, you could drink right out of a stream with some of this equipment.
And that's where I'm headed to Colorado in a few weeks. And this is where I got all my stuff. So yes, I go there, I buy stuff, but I'll tell you one thing. Okay. So it's famously termed by my hunting buddies, the blood blind. Because, yeah, it was real bad. And this was one of those instances. I was by myself, and so I'm going out and I'm setting up this hub blind. It's a hub style blind that, it's like a pop out, right. Should be relatively easy to put up, but some of them are not. This one was not. This one decided to be a little bit cantankerous. But I go out there and I'm by myself and I'm away from my truck. I'm probably about 250 yards away from my truck. Well, I go to push the hub out with my hand and my hand catches in it. Ooh. Yeah, it catches in the hub blind, pinching the fatty part right around my thumb area. Right. And I didn't think anything of it because I immediately got it out and I assessed it and I was like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. It wasn't bleeding. And then all of a sudden, like, I start looking around the blind and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm still fighting with this blind trying to get it up. Mm-hmm. And I sit there and I have caked the entire walls with blood. Goodness. And my hand was bleeding so bad. And I've got like pictures. Oh. And I got it bandaged up. I got back to my truck. Yep. It was such that, I mean, I was starting to get a little bit weak. I mean, there was that much blood just leaving my body. And that's one of the reasons why, like, if you guys are going out, like, tell somebody, like, take the necessary precautions. Right. You know?
And if you haven't had a basic first aid class, go find one, get a tourniquet and learn how to use it. Get yourself a quality first aid kit. We've got some pretty heavy duty, high end first aid kits on the website. Yeah. I don't remember we have so many different products. I don't remember the manufacturer.
You should know every single one of them.
I keep one in my truck. I keep one that we sell in the hump of my truck. It's got a tourniquet. It's got a chest seal. It's got scissors, forceps, all kinds of stuff. It's got stuff for burns. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went on there and I bought a Blue Force gear. It's a micro trauma kit. But I went on there and bought one of those, and it always goes in my pack because it's got everything. Right. So, and another story, man, I've got a lot of little medical stories. And this has to do everything with hunting, but I was in Canada and I was driving. So I drove from Denver all the way up to British Columbia, and I had hunted for a few days. I'd already tagged out, and I was coming back from town down this very steep incline, and I was the first one on it. Was a vehicle accident. Oh yeah. First one on it. And it was in between a Ford F-250 and a tractor trailer. Oh. And he had just come around and the guy was bleeding profusely from his leg. He had completely shattered his hip. Mm-hmm. And I took that trauma kit out because I had it with me. Like I just, I had everything I needed with me because I was on the hunt, and just having it in the vehicle was, it was so important. And it honestly, like, it probably saved that guy's life. It did, yeah. Just how much blood was involved with that. But we were able to get him safely out of the vehicle because it wasn't safe. There's gas everywhere. It was a bad situation, but I was able to run that tourniquet up his leg. He did not like me very much. Like, he was not a fan. And if you've ever applied a tourniquet to someone,
they're not going to
don't like you.
Yeah. But it's okay if they don't like you, if they're still alive later to hate your guts, that's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we started putting seals in and everything else. And it took the EMTs, I think they got there in 25 minutes. And we all know, like, major wounds, it takes a lot less than that.
With a femoral artery, you can bleed out in like 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Yeah. And if you've taken like some trauma classes or any type of medical class, they'll kind of show you some videos of guys like that have those arterial bleeds, and
Yeah.
it is frightening how fast blood can leave the body.
Horrifying. Yep.
The heart's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it is. It keeps
I
on
mean, it's
pumping.
very efficient.
It's good at its job.
Yeah. I mean,
Whether
come
you're
on.
in fact or not, it's good at its job. Yeah.
Yeah. Some other products you guys are really heavily in are, I think a lot of guys also take for granted their optics in the field.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you guys are doing a killer job in that area. What are you guys looking at now?
Of course, one of the lines that we have a whole bunch of right now. Of course, we got our Brownells. I want to talk about the Brownells MPOs, but I want to talk about a company we sell a ton of their stuff as Vortex.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things we'll be having coming up in later in September, and we haven't nailed down the date just yet, but it'll be later. So keep checking the website. I mean, we won't be shy about it when this stuff goes live. We're going to have an exclusive rifle package as part of our hunting promotion. You can only get it at Brownells, and it'll be a CVA rifle chambered in 350 Legend. It's a bolt action rifle in 350 Legend, and it'll have a Crossfire 2 scope on it.
Really?
Ring mounts. It'll be all one package, and you can only get it at Brownells.
And that's it. But you guys are always kind of running specials like that. But where that comes in handy are those Midwestern guys.
Oh,
it's only straight wall cartridge only.
Several states. Now, Iowa has changed its regs a little bit. I mean, for the last couple of years, we've been straight wall cartridge only. And this year, they've modified the regs as long as, I believe, if I remember correctly, is as long as it's at least 35 caliber and produces at least 500 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, you're good to go.
Wait, so that's Iowa?
Iowa and it's new for this fall. We have not had the hunting season yet.
Really?
In fact, just like a month ago, they announced these regulations changes. And this is my understanding. I'm not an attorney. I'm not necessarily an expert, but my understanding of the regs are we've been straight wall cartridge only for rifles, but this year they're going to experiment with as long as it's at least 35 caliber and produces at least 500 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, it's legal for deer. So I'm kind of excited. I don't mean to go too far down a rabbit hole, but that means my 9.3 by 6.2 Mauser is apparently legal for deer in Iowa.
It would be illegal.
Yeah. But 350 Legend would be right there. I mean, even though it's 350 Legend. Yep.
350 Legend would be perfect for that area. And so I have a question.
Sure.
So can you, in late season muzzleloader, that you cannot use a straight wall cartridge? Is that correct?
I'd have to check the regs again because I always hunt early muzzleloader season here in Iowa.
Okay.
I've lived in here about 10 years. I've never hunted the late muzzleloader season.
That's like the best time.
Yeah, I know, but dude, it's like -12.
but that's when the deer are moving. They're checking.
I know. So I go kill my deer in early muzzleloader. I take
maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe I'm doing it completely backwards.
I'm a Southern boy from Arkansas, man.
That's pretty good. Hey, I'm going to jump in real quick right here with a word from our great sponsors. Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by these great sponsors: Remington Ammunition. From UMC to Wingmaster HD, look for your favorite loads back on the shelves. Yeah, they're back in production. And with the introduction of Remington's new Core Lock tip, the deadliest mushroom in the woods is even deadlier. Classic hard-hitting Core Lock performance meets improved accuracy and long-range potential to make this season the deadliest yet. Big Green is back. Visit Remington.com. Smith & Wesson, the newest from Smith & Wesson is the M&P 12 Bullpup Shotgun, featuring 2 mag tubes, ambi safety selector, removable Picatinny rail, and interchangeable M&P palm swells. We've actually got to shoot this one on the range, and it holds a full box of those mini shells. So a full box goes in both tubes, and you can get right to the range. You can defend your home and defend your loved ones with the Smith & Wesson M&P 12. Find out more at smith-wesson.com/MP12. Springfield Armory. Springfield Armory has a spot that delivers daily firearms kit. Look, okay, they've got this spot on their website that not a lot of people know. It's called the Armory. It's the Springfield Armory. And what they do is they upload a bunch of content on there. So if you're a new gun owner, if you're a seasoned gun owner, they've got the place for you to go find out information about Springfield products, tips, tactics, and techniques to better your gun handling. For more information, go to thearmorylife.com. Tetra Hearing. Audiologists at Tetra have developed Tetra Range Alpha Shields, a new premium hearing protection product for the range that reduces gun blasts to safe decibel levels while allowing you to talk back and forth with the guys in your hunting party. They're really cool. They're really easy to use. You can also get these in custom molds, so they will custom fit your ears. If you're like me and you have really small ear canals, that's really the only way to go. That's what I'm running right now. For more, visit tetrahearing.com and use the code GUNTALK at checkout for 15% off. That's a deal right there. And Benelli, for 10 years, Benelli engineers worked on a full redesign of the Super Black Eagle platform with 3 areas of focus: improved ergonomics, which is always good, flawless functionality, and an updated design for modern waterfowling. Pretty much what that means is it's going to line up better with your shot, and it's going to be just as durable as you expected from the SBE2 and the original Super Black Eagle, which is really cool. It's also available in 10 or in 12 and 20 gauges, and it's got features like an oversized bolt handle and easy loading system. Find out more at benelliusa.com. You're going to want to check that out. Thank you to those sponsors. Okay, we're back. Now, we're talking with Roy Hill of Brownells, and we're talking a little bit about hunting regulations and his time in Iowa, and we're debating on whether early season muzzleloader is good or late season. Which one's better? I think late season, just because I think, man, those deer will go to those feed fields.
Right.
And they go to them often because it's cold. They got to get their energy up.
Have you hunted Iowa in late season muzzleloader?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, like a couple years ago, and it was awesome.
And how deep was the snow?
It was actually pretty mild.
You got lucky.
It was not bad at all.
Oh man, because that's usually January, right?
Yep, it's January.
Yeah. This past January would not have been pleasant.
Really? No, it was the one before that. So maybe I just got lucky.
They gotten lucky. I mean, there is a chance. I've lived in Iowa long enough to know in January, sometimes there's a chance for a little bit of a thaw. So it might get up to like 33 degrees.
So it starts disappearing quickly.
Right. But then, I mean, -12 for a high is not unusual. I mean, yeah. So again, I'm from Arkansas originally. I'm a thin-blooded old Southern boy. I don't like necessarily hunting deer in the snow. So I always hunt early muzzleloader.
There's different strokes for different folks, and I completely get that.
I don't disagree one bit that the hunting may in fact be better. But the beautiful thing about Iowa is the entire state is one big corn and soybean field.
Oh yeah,
there is no shortage of deer.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So I guess I have a season, because let's kind of jump into this early season topic, because you can pattern the deer a lot better. I guarantee you can pattern them a lot better early season than you can late season.
Right, because they haven't been hunted as hard.
Right. So they have all this time on their hands just to get into a rhythm of what they're doing, and they're going, feed to bed, feed. I mean, pacing. The ladies aren't on the mind yet.
Yep.
And they're all in dude mode. They're just hanging out with their buddies.
Yep.
So are you targeting, field edges, or what are you doing? Or are you like glassing beforehand, or what are you doing?
For me, it's pretty simplistic. I mean, every once in a while, I'll a buddy or somebody I know will allow me to hunt some pieces of private land, and then I just try to examine the land and figure out where the likely avenues of travel. Look for tracks, look for things, and I just try to be where I think the deer are going to pop out at a certain time. If I'm not hunting a friend's private land, there's about 3 or 4 small plots of public ground around where I live. And over about 9 or 10 years, I know pretty much where the deer are ingressing and egressing the private land. And again, I hunt early muzzleloader. They sell only 7,500 permits for the entire state. It's in October. It feels more like natural deer hunting to me, because again, I grew up deer hunting in Arkansas. In Arkansas, you don't deer hunt with 2 feet of snow on the ground and 28-mile-an-hour winds, right? That doesn't happen.
You shelter up, shelter in place.
Shelter in place in Arkansas. The world comes to an end. Half inch of snow, the world comes to an end. So it feels very normal, very natural to me. There's not a lot of hunt. I've never, ever encountered another muzzleloader hunter hunting early season, ever.
No kidding.
I've stumbled across 3 bow hunters over the years and a couple of dudes hunting squirrels.
But no, they're not getting pressured, it sounds like.
No, the deer are not getting pressured.
Is this Iowa?
This is Iowa, yeah.
Because I thought every person out there, like that's their destination, is just, hey, I'm going to hunt Iowa this year.
It is, but they hunt the shotgun seasons.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And so it's going to be the shotgun seasons.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the shotgun seasons that guys are going to be able to use those straight wall cartridges,
right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, during the shotgun.
So if it's muzzleloader season, guys, muzzleloader only.
Muzzleloader. Right.
Kind of depresses me because, I got to thinking about it because last time I had a heck of a time in Iowa. Like I saw some massive deer and saw probably the biggest, I would say it's the biggest buck on 4 hooves that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, there's some monsters up here, man. There's some.
Oh yeah, and I think I think that's what it is. I think it's a food source.
Yeah. I mean,
and
I've got a funny story. The short version is the raccoons up here look like small black bears.
Yeah.
The raccoons are like 40 and 50 pounds. The first time I saw a dead raccoon, a roadkill raccoon in Iowa, I said, good Lord, what the heck? That's a raccoon? Because the whole state's cornfield. There's never ending. In fact, one of the pieces of public ground I hunt, usually the way the harvest works out, I stage up at a certain area because a dude leases the field next to it, and I just wait for the combine to keep doing the circles. And eventually he flushes deer and they run over to the forest. I've actually learned how to use farm machinery as part of my hunting strategy. And I let the combine flush them out of the cornfield.
Yeah.
You're not coming out of the cornfield unless something makes them come out of the cornfield.
So, but first what happens is all the raccoons start barreling towards you. And that's when you think you're like, oh my gosh, here comes a big one.
Well, I hunt with an 1853 infield rifle musket, and I keep needing to get a bayonet to fight the raccoons off.
Just don't stand in between them and their corn pile. Like if you do that, like you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. But yeah, you were talking about, you saw probably the biggest deer you've ever seen. Last year, early muzzleloader on a little piece of public land, because I picked the wrong deer trail to set up on. There's a long hill, and there are a couple of deer trails above me, and there was a deer trail below me. So I got in the middle one, so I could see up and down.
Right.
Just at sunrise, the biggest buck I've ever seen in my life came over the sharp little hill and appeared like 15 feet in front of me on the trail I was set up on.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, I'm getting a little goosebumpy just talking about it. I mean, the bases of his antlers were like that big. It was incredible.
Like they were like soda can size.
Oh my gosh. And I looked at him, and he actually looked at me, and I had time to take my thumb and go click on the hammer, and he wheeled and was gone.
Yeah.
I sat there, heart palpitations. I mean, he was the biggest deer I've ever been in the presence of, and he was coming from private land onto public land. I just happened to pick the wrong trail to set up.
Oh, or I mean, there's no way you can prepare for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And that's a tough situation to be in because you don't expect him to be right on top of you. You expect a little bit of time,
right? But he was
just
head up and just trotting, and he just appeared right there in the early morning, and there he was.
And they always look bigger going away.
Oh my gosh.
They always.
He sounded like a tank crashing through the forest as he was going away. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been on a lot of hunts where, little decisions you make, and you think you're making the right decision because I could see that me making that exact same decision because you sit there and you think, okay, he's going to come up on one of these 2 hills because you got to think of your thermals in the morning are going to be going down.
Right.
You start thinking about that stuff. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've got a plan. And then he does the exact same thing that you did not want him to do.
Right. Or you're in the perfect spot and all of a sudden the wind changes 180 degrees. And
all the time. That's the life I live. But yeah, this buck in Iowa, he, it was the late season muzzleloader hunt. And I scouted the property that day, and we went to the front door of this guy's house, said, "Hey, can we hunt this little patch of property?" And he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I don't think he's a very good farmer because he leaves a lot of corn behind. So those are the kind of fields you want to look for. Like, their farming practices aren't up to par, but he came out exactly where I thought he would. But the problem was there were so many deer out there before that they got to me, and those doe had already cut my wind. And so they were all on point. They were sitting there and like, how they're on high alert. They're blowing, they're snort wheezing and stuff like that. And, then he's on high alert, and just one mistake after another. And I saw him disappear, and it was just broke my heart. But just to be, I was 135 yards away. I remember arranging him. And just to be that close to something that massive, is amazing.
Yes.
And
I have one more Iowa hunt story.
Oh, please.
Okay.
Please.
All right. So it was the first time I actually got to hunt a really good piece of private land. Oh, this has been about 5 years ago now. There was a creek. I could see where the deer had been traveling from cornfield to cornfield. There was a trail through the woods. So literally, I had a freaking lawn chair, literally. And I Walmart lawn chair, and I flopped it out there, and I'm sitting there with my muzzle loader across my knees, and I saw antlers through the brush do this as the deer put its head down, and they were big. I said, "All right, here we go." Very carefully cocked the hammer back, watched him come out, elbows on knees. It was maybe a 40-yard shot, and I had a tag for $1 because in Iowa, your first tag, of course, is any sex deer.
Right.
And then after that, depending on your county's quota that you're hunting in, you can buy as many antlerless deer as you want until you're running.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
No.
I mean, there's some. Were you down in southern Iowa?
Yes.
Yeah, some of the southern Iowa counties, the individual county will have like 2,500 antlerless deer permits or 3,000 antlerless deer. So you pop your buck, and then you want to shoot 25 doe? Well, we'll just go buy 25 tags. And so I made the shot. I knew he was hit. I could see he was hit. He ran. He piled up. And, my heart's thumping, and I just killed the biggest deer of my life, and I'm about ready to celebrate. And he's this big, fat 8-point. And as I'm about ready to celebrate, the enormous 12-point that was 30 yards behind walked out into the clearing and turned and looked at me and went, and then trotted down the way and turned back and looked at me, walked over, sniffed the dead deer, looked back at me. I mean, like Bullwinkle, right? I mean, and I just sat there with, oh no, and then watch him go. That's all I can do. Well, I got my 8-point. I got my big fat 8-point.
I mean, a big 8-point, I'll take that every day, but it is a swift kick down below that just brings you to your knees when you see an even bigger one come out.
I went from jubilation to, are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I've still got the 8-points horn, so I'm proud of that. And he takes very good too.
Okay, I have a couple of questions to clear up.
Sure.
Are you a shoulder mount guy or a European mount guy?
I'm for a European mount guy. I've got
good for you.
Horns, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've transitioned. Like I've went from like, oh man, I'm going to shoulder mount everything, into just a good Euro mount. Like those look just as good to me, and they display the animal really good, and at least that's my thought process.
They take up a lot less room. Yeah.
Heck yeah, they do. A lot less room. Although I've got an elk in my garage still that I'm like, man, I gotta hang that up.
Yeah, I don't have an elk. I'd love to get an elk.
Oh, I'm going in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we're set and we're good to go. But that's all up to me. It's I know the elk are going to be there.
Yep.
But okay, one more question for you, and we're going to hop off here.
Okay.
Actually, a couple more questions.
Sure.
Floppy or crispy bacon?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I get where you're going with this.
In my house, it's crispy because my wife is anti-floppy bacon, so it's always crispy.
Oh, wow. Oh, so but if you were cooking it, you were at your home by yourself. Mm-hmm. How do you cook it?
It would be somewhat crispy, yet still just a touch floppy, if that makes any sense. I don't want it cooked to death, but I do want it cooked.
It's got to be a little flop in there. Come on.
Right.
All right. Hey, give us a little, real quick, hit on those guns coming down the pipe too.
Right.
Like hit on the special ones, because I want guys to go to brownells.com at the end of September. Keep checking back every day, because those deals are always there. But this is a special one, and it's, I mean, get your guns now for hunting season.
Later in September, we're going to have some specials going on specifically for the hunters. One of the things is we're going to be stocked up on some really high quality Browning hunting ammo. That'll be available in classic hunting calibers like 300 Win Mag 30-06, 270 Winchester, the newer 6.5 Creedmoor, 7mm Remington Mag. We're going to have even the new hotness, the 6.8 Western. We're going to stock up on some good high-end Browning, high-quality hunting ammo. So be checking for that.
So you will have ammo.
We'll have ammo. Another thing we're going to have is if you're folks watching are familiar with the Howa rifles, the Howa 1500, we're going to have a complete rifle with a stock chambered in 450 Bushmaster. It's one of the Howa mini actions. So it's a smaller, lighter. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those are nice.
Smaller, lighter bolt action in 450 Bushmaster, which, of course, is perfect for if you're living in a straight wall state. And even if you're living somewhere you don't have to have a straight wall state, straight wall cartridge, 450 Bushmaster is very interesting round.
Oh, yeah.
Realistically, very close to 45-70.
Yeah. It's a thumper.
It is a thumper. So we're going to have a Howa 1500 mini action on the website specifically for our hunting promo. And then the other really cool one, I think that's really cool, is going to be a Brownells exclusive. It's a complete package ready to go into the field. It's going to be a CVA rifle in the flat dark earth camouflage, chambered in 350 Legend, the other straight, well, it's kind of like the smaller brother to the 450.
Yeah.
Sort of. Not exactly, but kind of. Another great rifle cartridge for deer, especially if you live in a straight wall only state, or even if you don't, it doesn't kick that much. And the 350s is optimized to run in a standard size AR-15. So Beautiful. That's a great thing. And that rifle will come complete with a Crossfire 2 scope and tally ring mounts, all put together, all ready to take out in the field. So that'll be
all you got to do is go sight it in, get comfortable with it, get ready, and go shoot some deer. Perfect. All right, Roy, thank you for joining us on Gun Talk Hunt. As always, guys, keep those muzzles pointing in a safe direction and always enjoy the hunt.